Hello, Yankees fans. It is that exciting time again when the offseason buzz is heating up and every move, every rumor, every potential signing is under the microscope. Let's start by talking about Michael King, because he is back in conversations and it is impossible to ignore what he could bring to the Yankees rotation. For those who followed his career with the Padres, you remember the kind of season he had when he became a full-time starting pitcher. He posted a 2.95 earned run average over 30 starts, logging over 173 innings and striking out over 2,000 batters. It was a remarkable display of consistency and talent, the kind of year that makes teams pay attention. Of course, last season he struggled with injuries, appearing in only 15 games with a 3.44 earned run average and 76 strikeouts across 73 innings. It is clear that health is the biggest question mark, but if Michael King can stay on the mound consistently, the Yankees would be getting a high-caliber starter, someone capable of stabilizing a rotation that could use a boost. The conversation now revolves around what price tag the Yankees are willing to accept. 4 years, $100 million, perhaps a little more, seems like the projected commitment, but the risk is real. Investing heavily in a pitcher with a recent injury history is never straightforward, yet the potential upside is undeniable. If he maintains his previous form, the Yankees could be looking at a true difference-maker, someone who can lead a rotation and deliver big innings in crucial moments. This need becomes more pronounced when you consider the current state of the Yankees' pitching staff. With Carlos Rodon expected to miss the first month of the season, possibly spilling into May, and Garrett Cole's availability still uncertain, the team's rotation could face significant gaps early on. Right now, the starting lineup looks like Max Fried, Will Warren, Luis Healy, Cam Schlittler, and Ryan Yarbrough. Adding a proven starter like King could fill a critical hole and bring some much-needed depth. There are, of course, counterarguments. The Yankees have already invested a substantial sum into their rotation. Bringing King back would mean spending more money, potentially affecting other signings or roster decisions, including whether they pursue someone like Tatsuyami. If King returns, it might indicate that Me is off the table, simply because committing to 2 high-dollar starters might be beyond the organization's current plans. Still, the prospect of Michael King pitching again in New York carries a narrative weight. He was a central piece in the Juan Soto trade, and bringing him back could feel like restoring balance after losing Soto. There is also the matter of draft picks, since King declined a qualifying offer from the Padres, meaning the Yankees would have to part with 1 or maybe 2 picks to secure him. The complexities are many, but the potential reward is high. Observing that King shares an agent with Kyle Tucker adds another layer to the story, implying connections and negotiations that may be happening behind the scenes, though it is all speculation at this point. The bottom line is that if the Yankees go after King, it is a calculated risk, a decision weighing health, cost, and strategic fit, but one that could pay dividends if it works out. Shifting focus, another story that has captured attention is Corey Seager. The Rangers' general manager, Chris Young, has tried to clarify that trade talks are being blown out of proportion, but he did not deny that conversations are occurring. Seager, when healthy, is elite, one of the best shortstops in baseball, someone who can change the trajectory of a team with both offense and defense. The challenge, as always, lies in his health. Injuries have been a recurring theme, and any team considering him must factor that in. Financial considerations are also relevant, though compared to other major free agent deals, his value is reasonable, particularly when the performance upside is taken into account. The Rangers are reportedly listening to offers but are not desperate to move him, which suggests any trade would have to be compelling, and timing and fit are everything. While Seager is intriguing, the more immediate Yankees' interest may lie elsewhere. Ketel Marte presents a fascinating case. He possesses a no-trade clause, listing 5 teams he cannot be moved to, including the Yankees. That list also contains the Giants, Cardinals, Athletics, and Pirates, which is intriguing because it raises questions about his strategy. Typically, a no-trade clause is used to block moves to undesirable teams, but Marte's selections suggest a nuanced approach, possibly leveraging his position to negotiate contract terms or control his future. For the Yankees, the reality is that Marte may never be an option. Despite being a switch-hitting infielder with excellent skills, the combination of a no-trade clause and personal preference likely places him out of reach. He seems more likely to end up with the Red Sox or the Tampa Bay Rays, teams that can fit his ambitions and provide the right scenario. Then there is Cody Bellinger, whose potential signing continues to dominate conversations. The sticking points appear to be contract length and financial terms, with the Yankees preferring a shorter commitment and Bellinger seeking more security. The urgency for the Yankees is clear. If they're going to solidify the outfield, decisions must be made soon. The team cannot rely on a platoon system with young players like Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez, because such an arrangement creates mismatches against left-handed pitching and limits overall effectiveness. Both hitters struggle against lefties, making a stable, consistent outfield imperative. Options include committing to one of the young players, trading for an established corner outfielder, or signing a free agent capable of handling left-handed pitching. Names like Austin Hayes and Ahmed Rosario come into play, with considerations about how they would fit into the existing roster and whether they can be utilized in multiple positions or platoon situations. The Yankees face a balancing act, needing to secure talent that addresses immediate weaknesses while also maintaining flexibility for future decisions. The clock is ticking, and with free agency and trades accelerating, the next moves could define the season before it even begins. December 17th is reportedly a critical date for decisions, particularly regarding Cody Bellinger, highlighting the urgency for clarity on the roster's composition and strategic direction. Now, moving beyond Bellinger, the Yankees' offseason strategy becomes even more intriguing when you consider the balance between pitching and position players. There's a constant debate about how much emphasis to place on bolstering the rotation versus upgrading offensive firepower. The team has invested heavily in starting pitching already, with names like Max Fried and Garrett Cole shaping expectations, but the unpredictability of injuries makes depth essential. Bringing someone like Michael King back could stabilize the rotation, yet it also forces difficult decisions elsewhere, potentially limiting flexibility in acquiring other key players. The Yankees' front office must weigh short-term gains against long-term sustainability, ensuring that the team remains competitive not just for this season, but for the next 3 to 5 years. Financial planning becomes critical, especially in a market where top-tier free agents command enormous contracts. Committing a significant portion of the payroll to a single pitcher, no matter how talented, can impact the ability to sign other impactful players, creating ripple effects throughout the roster. Meanwhile, the situation with Tatsuya Mii remains a tantalizing subplot. While rumors persist that the Yankees have not fully stepped away from pursuing him, the return of Michael King could signal a shift in priorities. Mii represents a high-upside option with international experience and a proven track record, yet his acquisition would require careful negotiation and considerable financial investment. The delicate balance between these two potential signings demonstrates the complexities of roster construction in modern Major League Baseball. Every decision is interconnected, and a move in one area inevitably affects opportunities elsewhere. King and Mii embody different approaches to solving the same problem: rotation depth and stability. One brings experience in the American League, familiarity with domestic competition, and a relatively predictable performance curve if healthy, while the other brings a mix of international pedigree, raw talent, and potential upside that could translate into long-term dominance. The front office's approach to these choices will reveal their philosophy on risk versus reward and their vision for the team over the coming seasons. Looking at position players, the situation with Corey Seager and Ketel Marte exemplifies the challenges of targeting elite talent. Seager, with his combination of offense and defensive prowess, offers a transformative presence in the infield, but health and contract terms complicate the picture. Teams like the Rangers are willing to entertain offers, yet they are not under pressure to make a trade, and any potential deal must align with their strategic priorities. For the Yankees, acquiring Seager would fill a significant gap, potentially redefining the infield and enhancing lineup flexibility. Still, risk management is key, Betting on a player with a recent history of injuries requires a careful assessment of both short-term impact and long-term sustainability. Meanwhile, Marte's no-trade list and strategic maneuvering highlight the intricacies of player negotiations. His selection of teams, including avoiding the Yankees, suggests that player preference and leverage are just as important as raw talent. The Yankees, despite their interest, must recognize that certain acquisitions may be unattainable, requiring alternative strategies to fill positional needs. Understanding the nuances of player priorities, contract incentives, and market dynamics becomes essential in navigating the off-season landscape successfully. The outfield situation, particularly regarding Cody Bellinger, underscores the need for clarity and decisiveness. Bellinger presents a high-impact option capable of addressing multiple gaps in the lineup, particularly against left-handed pitching, where young players like Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez struggle. The Yankees cannot afford a half measure, as platooning these young players creates inefficiencies and exposes the team to predictable weaknesses. Signing Bellinger, therefore, represents a commitment to stability, production, and the overall offensive strategy. Yet the negotiation hinges not just on ability, but on alignment of expectations. Years of contract and financial terms must satisfy both parties, and any misalignment risks losing a key player to other interested teams. The Yankees' willingness to engage in these discussions highlights their intent to remain competitive, to field a roster capable of contending immediately, and to mitigate the risks associated with relying solely on youth or inconsistent performers. Strategic foresight becomes crucial, and timing is equally important, with decisions likely impacting other roster moves, including potential trades or minor league promotions. As we dive deeper into roster considerations, the interplay between free agent acquisitions, internal development, and trade targets becomes increasingly apparent. Balancing these elements requires foresight, risk management, and an understanding of both player potential and organizational needs. The Yankees are navigating a complex web of variables: injury history, contract expectations, performance metrics, positional depth, and competitive market forces. Each choice carries consequences, shaping not only the upcoming season, but the trajectory of the franchise for years to come. The narrative of the offseason is therefore defined by strategic tension. The need to secure top-tier talent while maintaining flexibility, the desire to return proven performers like Michael King, while exploring high-upside options such as Tatsuyami, and the imperative to make decisive moves regarding cornerstone players like Cody Bellinger. It is a balancing act that requires skill, patience, and a willingness to embrace calculated risk. Off-field dynamics also play a critical role, influencing negotiations and potential acquisitions. Agents, prior relationships, and market positioning can accelerate or stall conversations. In Michael King's case, shared representation with other high-profile players could create leverage or streamline negotiations, yet also introduces uncertainty regarding priorities. Similarly, the Yankees' approach to pursuing Bellinger or Seager must account for competition from other franchises, contract negotiations, and player preference, creating a multi-layered decision-making process that goes far beyond simple talent evaluation. Every rumor, every report, every strategic conversation contributes to the evolving landscape, underscoring that building a championship-caliber team is as much about timing, relationships, and foresight as it is about raw ability on the field. The front office's capacity to synthesize these factors and act decisively will define the success of this offseason and set the stage for the season ahead, shaping the narrative of the Yankees' pursuit of excellence. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. The baseball world was set abuzz by whispers that few would have dared to imagine not long ago. According to growing locker room chatter and industry speculation, Mike Trout's long-standing relationship with the Los Angeles Angels may have quietly reached its breaking point, opening the door to a stunning potential move to the New York Yankees. While no official confirmation has surfaced, the mere possibility has already ignited debates across front offices, clubhouses, and fan bases. Sources close to the situation suggest that Trout, long viewed as the face of the Angels franchise, has grown increasingly frustrated with the direction of the organization. Years of carrying the team's identity, coupled with persistent questions about competitiveness and long-term vision, are said to have weighed heavily on the superstar. The idea that loyalty alone can sustain a career appears to be under reassessment, especially for a player whose prime years remain immensely valuable. On the other side of the rumor stands the Yankees, a franchise perpetually linked to marquee names and bold ambition. Insiders speculate that New York sees Trout not just as a transformative talent on the field, but as a cultural reset, a figure capable of redefining the club's present and future. The Yankees' financial muscle, combined with their relentless pursuit of championships, reportedly makes them a uniquely attractive destination for a player seeking both legacy and relevance on the sport's biggest stage. Skeptics argue that such a move would be seismic to the point of improbability, citing Trout's deep roots in Anaheim and the Angels' reluctance to let go of a generational icon. Still, baseball history is filled with moments once deemed impossible, only to become reality after a single announcement. For now, the story lives in the shadows, fueled by murmurs rather than signatures. Yet the notion of Mike Trout in pinstripes is enough to unsettle the league. Whether this remains a rumor or evolves into one of baseball's most shocking chapters, the speculation alone has already reshaped conversations about power, loyalty, and ambition in the modern game. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.